kids out there, and I talked about, we're 200 years old. We're 200 years old this year. It's the bicentennial of the state of Indiana. In fact, I had a really cool experience yesterday. In recognition of our bicentennial, we unveiled the first new artifact of Abraham Lincoln's life that's been discovered in about 150 years. It's the very mallet that he used to split rails when he was growing up in Spencer County in southern Indiana. It's incredible. If you get some time to go over to the State Museum and look at the Lincoln collection, you'll really enjoy it. But we think of that incredible sweep of history. It is amazing to think that we're not just 200 years old, we're actually, as I said, 200 years strong. Because there are more Hoosiers going to work in the state of Indiana today than ever before in the 200-year history of this state. And yet even though we have record employment in the state of Indiana, it's remarkable. It truly is remarkable. And even though unemployment has dropped from over 8% 3 years ago to 4.4% today, what I want to say to each one of you is that the jobs and opportunities across this state, for men and women who have the education and the background and the training and the drive that each one of you have already demonstrated in your lives, the jobs and opportunities are more abundant now than ever. When I'm traveling around the state of Indiana, Tom will back me up on this. A lot of times people will say to me, you know, it's the greatest challenge that businesses large and small have in the state of Indiana is people. Okay? It's one of the reasons why we're investing in career technical education at the high school level and partnering with Ivy Tech in secondary education all across the state of Indiana to give young people the opportunity to begin to access the kind of technical training that many of you have taken advantage of already. You know, I believe our high schools ought to work just as well for our kids that want to go get a job as for our kids that want to immediately go off to college, right?
Yes.
And I also think it ought to work for our young people to say, you know what, I've got a technical career in mind. I'd like to get a jump on that so that when I hit Ivy Tech, I've already moved the ball down the field to be able to get that industry recognized certification. It's another reason why we've made a commitment to what we call the Regional Cities Initiative. You know, the state of Indiana, I think, you know, Indiana is the heart of the heartland, right? Greatest people in the world, the greatest state, and the greatest nation on earth. Okay? Okay, you people in the back of the room, we got to work on you later. All these people up here agree with me. What I want to say is we're investing in the state of Indiana in our Regional Cities Initiative, as we are down in southwest Indiana and north central Indiana, and in the greater Fort Wayne area, in ways that are designed to retain and attract the workforce in the future. We have 6.5 million of the best people on earth that live in Indiana. But we're going to be investing in the days ahead to continue to make southwest Indiana and northeast Indiana, north central Indiana, frankly, every corner of this state, even more attractive for men and women like each and every one of you who have the drive and the determination to improve yourselves, to see all those things in communities that are going to make you want to build your business and build your career here in Indiana. It's because it's all really about workforce. I mean, the only thing really standing in between Indiana and unbridled growth is just making sure that we have the best educated and the best skilled workforce in America. And the reason I wanted to come by today, and I'm wrapping up here because you're going to get a little blurb about the history of the State House before lunch. No, you're not going to do that. We're going straight to lunch. That is the kind of command leadership that I personally appreciate. Well, let me just wrap up then and just tell you, I hope you're having a great time in the State House today. But I hope you also know that you are an inspiration to all the people that you're going to encounter. And not just because you represent one of the institutions that Indiana is promised, our largest post-secondary institution in the state, that touches on communities and opens doors of opportunity, but because each one of you have believed in yourself. And as I said at the outset, you've taken the steps to improve yourself and improve your life. And my own experience in that is, I remember how hard it was for me. So I graduated from Hanover College, which is down on the Ohio River. Little tiny liberal arts college. And I worked for a few years, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to go to graduate school. And I actually applied to go to graduate the standardized test to be able to get in. And I'll never forget a friend of mine. I was sitting in the backyard of this little house that I rented when I was actually working for the college that I graduated from. And he said to me, you know, you got to take that test again, Mike. You got to try that again. And I frankly had kind of given up on it. I wanted to go to law school ever since I could remember, but I just hadn't done well enough on the law school admissions test to get into the law school that I wanted to attend. And I looked at him and I said, no, I'm done with that. I'm not going to do that. I pushed it off, maybe like some of you might be able to relate, maybe pushing your own dreams off sometimes, you know what I'm saying? And this young guy who's a friend of mine that I'd known from school, he looked at me and he said, no, you got to do it. You got to take that test one more time. And I said, I'm not going to do it. He said, you got to try to do it again. And I said, look, Joe, I'm not going to do it, okay? And he said, why? And I said, because I'm afraid I'm not going to do well again. Okay? I'm just being transparent with you. And I kind of blurted it out just like that. He was taken back a little bit. And he looked at me and he said, well, isn't courage being afraid and going on ahead anyway? Word for word is what he said. Isn't courage being afraid and going on anyway? It was one of those moments, and I think God has used these moments in my life, where a friend said something to me that just hit me right in the heart. And I said, you're right. And the next day I sent in the papers. And months later, I took the test. And I did 4 times better the second time I took it. And I got into both the law schools I wanted to attend. Now for me, I'm not saying that to say, I went to law school. I'm just saying to you, for me, there was a barrier there in front of me that mostly I didn't realize till Joe said that to me was in my heart. The barrier was my own fear and my own concern about my own limitations. And when a friend of mine said, courage is about going forward even when you're afraid, I stepped over it, and my life has been incredibly blessed as a result. If I hadn't gone to law school, I never would have met Karen Pence. I've been married to her for 30 years, and she's amazing. That's all I want to say to each and every one of you. You've stepped over that threshold. You've grabbed hold of your dreams. Maybe you had a few people in your life who said, what are you doing that for? Why are you doing that? Why are you going over to Army Tech and taking those courses? You know, it's good enough is good enough. And you said, no, I can be more. I can be better. And you know what? You're right. So, thanks for being here to tell Ivy Tech's story at this State House. Thank you for advocating one of the great post-secondary institutions in the life of this state and life of this nation. Thank you for being a part of Indiana's widening success story through your hard work and determination. But mostly, thanks for being men and women who inspire me and inspire your family and inspire your neighbors because you believe in your future. Thanks, everybody. God bless you. Have a great day here in your State House. Have a great lunch. Good to be with you all.
So we're going to give some instructions.